Welcome to Cybersecurity Workshops. This is David Raymond, Director of the Virginia Cyber Range, and in this session we're going to talk about file system shortcuts. So in the last session we talked about the file system, and we talked a little bit about maneuvering around the file system and switching from directory to directory. And here we're going to learn some shortcuts that make maneuvering around the file system a little bit easier. So I would encourage you to come back to this and watch this video once in a while. It's pretty short, should be pretty short, but these are very useful techniques that you can use to quickly move around the file system that can save you some time later on. Here we are in the course called Introduction to Command Line Interface. Author is Matt Vogel from Tidewater Community College, and we're moving through Module 2, which is working with files and directories, and it's the second lesson in that module. How to use file system shortcuts. So we'll just jump right in here. File system shortcuts. Here's some lesson objectives. We want to understand the shortcuts, and then we want to figure out how to use these things. So high-level overview, Linux has several file system shortcuts that will help you move around the file system or indicate directories in the file system. Again, this is about saving time, making your life a little bit easier. The tilde character, this is called a tilde. It's in the upper left-hand corner of your keyboard usually, and it's a shift character, so it's above another character. So that tilde character in most Linux shells, and certainly in the bash shell, the tilde represents the current user's home directory. And so we talked about that a little bit last time. So if you look at this command line, remember last time we said that the first portion of the command line usually was the user ID, and then you have an @ symbol, and then you have the host name, which in this case is a representation of the IP address, and then we have a colon, and then we have the path, the current path. And the tilde character means my home directory. So when I have the tilde all by itself, that's /home/student if I'm logged in as a student. The tilde also represents, so here's a longer path and it includes the tilde. So basically that means since the tilde represents /home/student, this path represents /home/student/documents. And I can use the cd command with the tilde after it to go back to my home directory. So let's take a look. Oops. So I'm going to cd somewhere else in the file system. So I'm somewhere else, var log, what's in here? Ooh, there's a bunch of logs. If I'm in var log and I say cd space tilde, takes me to my home directory. If I go back to var log, here's an even shorter shortcut. If I use the cd command all by itself, oh, my pen is running out of battery. If I use the cd command all by itself, that also takes me back to my home directory. So that's an even shorter shortcut, right? So if I cd with nothing, that's going to also take me back to my home directory. So that's pretty convenient. And that's very helpful. The home directory is called the home directory because that's where you spend a lot of your time, and when you're working with files or whatever. And so being able to quickly get back to your home directory is really super helpful. So just cd all by itself, home directory. The tilde can also be combined with a directory name in the current user's home directory. So I mentioned that, right? So here we have tilde/documents. And so that is /home/student/documents. We talked about this last time. The slash character means the root directory. That's the root of the file system. So when I say cd and then a slash, it's going to take me to the root of the file system. So here I am in my I'm in my home directory. So if I say cd space slash, there I am in the root of the file system. So if I say pwd, whoops, pwd root. Here, so that's useful, and I can also go. Remember, I can say root and then some other part of the path. So I can say slash var slash log to get into the var directory slash the log directory, which is subdirectories of the root of the file system. Here's a really cool technique. The dash character takes you back to the last directory you were in, right? So this is another thing that on the face of it maybe doesn't seem that interesting, but it's super helpful because there's going to be a lot of cases where you're in a directory doing something, working on files, or you're writing programs, or you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're going to have to move to another directory to do something, to change some configuration of something, or to take some action. But you have to go directly back to the directory that you were in previously. So you got to jump somewhere else, do something, and then go right back. And this dash character, the cd space dash, takes me back to the last directory that I was in. So we see. So let me cd. I'm in my home directory, so I'm going to cd. Let's say I'm in my home. I'm in home documents. Oops, I keep getting an F on there. Print working directory. Okay, so I'm in home slash student slash documents, and I need to go to var log really quick to do something. Cd var log, and then I manipulate some file here, whatever I'm going to do, and then I need to get back to slash home slash student slash documents. So one thing I could do is I could type that in again, right? Cd slash home, and I type slow. It's take me a while. Or the quick way is I say cd space dash, and boom, I'm right back there where I was, slash home slash student slash documents. Again, maybe not super interesting right now, but this is going to save you a lot of time later on. So that's a helpful thing. And then if you do it again, obviously it's going to remember the last place you were. So if you need to switch back and forth between two directories while you do a bunch of stuff, cd space dash, cd space dash. So here I do cd space dash again. It's going to go back to var log. Back and forth. Pretty cool. Okay, move back one directory. So in the file system, when you list the current working directory, you're always going to see this. There's going to be two files in every directory. One of them is going to be called dot. One of them is going to be called dot dot. The dot directory represents the current directory in the file system. The dot dot directory represents one directory up in the file system. Here he says one back in the one directory back. It's helpful to think of it as one directory up. So when I say up, I'm thinking of this tree structure, right? So I have the root of the file system. Then under that, I have home, and then I have var, and I have Etsy, etc. And then under home, I might have student. I might have someone else over here. So if I'm in student, and I do dot, oh, and then and then here he has documents, right? It's documents. So what this picture is representing is the user is in documents slash my directories, and he does a dot dot slash, and that's going to bring him up one level in the file system. And then if you do a dot dot again, that's another level. Dot dot again, it's another level. So let's take a look at that. So I'm in documents. If I say cd space dot dot, it's going to bring me up a level. So now instead of being in home student documents, I'm in home student. And I can put multiple of those together. So I can say cd dot dot slash dot dot, and where's that going to bring me? Where's that going to bring me? It's going to bring me to the root of the file system, right? Because I went from home slash student. So the first dot dot brings me back to home. The second dot dot brings me back to the root of the file system. I can also do some pretty funky things in terms of, so if I'm in documents, I can string those dot dots together to sort of move up and down in the file system in the same command. So for example, I'm in documents and maybe I want to go to var log. So what I could do is I could say cd dot dot to bring me to student, slash dot dot to bring me home, slash dot dot to bring me to root, slash var slash log. And that's going to bring me all the way from this folder all the way to that one in one change directory command. So I'm in home student documents. If I say cd dot 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 dot, that brings me all the way to the root of the file system. Then I say var log, and now I went all the way from home student documents all the way to var log in that single cd command. So double dot brings you up one in the up one level in the file system. So that describes, this slide describes that. The dot all by itself represents the current directory. So if I say cd dot or cd dot slash, it's going to do nothing. It's going to leave me where I am. Why would I ever do that? Well, I probably would never do that to you for CD, but there are cases where I have to be able to use dot slash and then a file name, and we're going to talk about those, but not in this session. You can use those shortcuts with any command, right? So so in my example, I was using just the cd command to move around, but I don't have to move around. I can stay in the directory that I'm in, and I can do things like I can list stuff, list the contents of a directory that I'm not in. So for example, here I'm in var log. If I want to list the contents of my home directory, I could say ls slash home slash student slash home slash student, and I get the list of the stuff in my home directory. How else could I do that? I could say ls tilde. I could say ls tilde, right? I get the same list. Or I could say ls dot 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 home student. So lots of ways to do the same thing. The point is that I don't have to go to a different directory to take action on stuff in another directory. I can do it right from where I'm at. Okay, so now I encourage students to complete the file system shortcuts lab exercise, and teachers, you're going to have to pull that out of the course repository, modify it to suit your needs, and share it with your students. So thanks.